Chapter 7 of First Chronicles, we continue with some genealogies, namely that of Issachar, verses 1 to 5, then Benjamin, verses 6 to 12, and finally Naphtali in verse 13. Others will follow later on in our studies. Let's see how we can make this interesting and also meaningful. The first thing we want to note is that no account in these passages exists either of Zebulun or Dan. Those two tribes are absent. Not sure why. Matthew Henry says, related to this question, that it is the disgrace of the tribe of Dan that idolatry began in the colony of the Danites, which fixed in Laish and called Dan, and there one of the golden calves was set up by Jeroboam. Maybe that's enough to remove someone from the record of the genealogies. Some other scholars suggest other reasons. These include lost or incomplete post-exile records, again because of their legacy of idol worship as noted above, some ancient scribal copy errors, and even an intended structural adjustment to keep the number of tribes to 12. The reason there was some confusion at times was because sometimes half tribes were included as separate tribes and other times they were not, and so you have this attempt to keep the number at 12 no matter what you're talking about or writing about. You choose, but let's head back to the ones that are listed here. Issachar was the 9th son of Jacob, the 5th son born to Jacob's first wife, Leah. He had moved with the family to Egypt during the Great Famine. On his deathbed, Jacob described this son using agricultural imagery, and you can check that out in Genesis chapter 49, verses 14 to 15. But later in 1 Chronicles chapter 12, we will read that during the reign of King David, Issachar's tribe provided, quote, men who understood the times and knew what Israel should do. The world is looking for such men today. In Judges chapter 5, verse 15, we learn that Issachar fought alongside Deborah and Barak to defeat the Canaanites. In Judges chapter 10, we see that the judge Tola came from Issachar, as did Baasha, the third king of the northern kingdom of Israel. In rabbinic tradition, Issachar is remembered as a tribe dedicated to scholarly pursuit and Torah study. The thought just came to me that if that is the case, perhaps the descendants of this tribe will be instrumental in all of Israel accepting the Messiah Jesus that has come to them and for whom they are seeking. We can only pray so. One final word on Issachar. Don't confuse him with a minor biblical figure named Issachar mentioned in 1 Chronicles chapter 26, verse 5. He was a Levite gatekeeper during the reign of David. Okay, let's move on to Benjamin. He was the 12th and youngest son of Jacob, born to his beloved Rachel. Rachel died in giving birth to him. She had named him Benoni, meaning son of my sorrow. His father renamed him Benjamin, meaning son of the right hand, denoting honor, favor, and strength. After Joseph, also born by Rachel, was sold into slavery into Egypt, Jacob clung on to his youngest son protectively, terrified of losing him as well. It was the presence of Benjamin that moved Joseph, now a big shot in Egypt, to tears, and you know the rest of that story. When the land of Canaan was divided among the Israelites and their various tribes, Benjamin received a small but strategically crucial territory nestled between Ephraim to the north and Judah to the south. It included major historical cities like Jerusalem, Jericho, Bethel, and Gibeah. The tribe of Benjamin was noted for its elite military skill with their left-handed warriors who could sling stones with pinpoint accuracy. Check that out in Judges chapter 20, verse 16. The first king of Israel, King Saul, came from this tribe. When the kingdom split into two following Solomon's reign, Benjamin was the only tribe that remained loyal to the southern kingdom of Judah, maintaining the central sanctuary at Jerusalem. And also in the Old Testament, You remember those characters, Esther and Mordecai? They saved the Jewish people from destruction during the Babylonian exile. Well, they were descendants of Benjamin. Esther chapter 2, verse 5. And finally, in the New Testament, we note, as per Philippians chapter 3, verses 4 and 5, that the Apostle Paul, originally called Saul, likely after Israel's first king, was also of the tribe of Benjamin. Quite a tribe. Finally, for this study today, we look at the tribe of Naphtali. He was the sixth son of Jacob. He was the second born to Bilhah, the handmaid of Jacob's second wife, Rachel, because Rachel had been struggling with infertility at the time. She claimed Bilhah's children as her own. In fact, Naphtali's name means my wrestling or my struggle. As per Jacob's deathbed blessing, Naphtali and later his tribe were renowned for their swiftness in movement and agility, particularly in battle. Once Israel moved into the Promised Land, they were given a large tract of land in Upper and Lower Galilee, from Mount Hermon to the Sea of Galilee. It was Barak from this tribe, that led 10,000 men into a decisive victory at Mount Tabor, when the prophetess Deborah called Israel to fight the Canaanite general Sisera. Check that out in Judges chapter 4. When King Solomon built the first temple in Jerusalem, he hired a master craftsman named Hiram, or Huram-Abi, whose mother, the text says, was from the tribe of Naphtali, to oversee the bronze work. 1 Kings chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. Their land, the land of the Naphtali tribe, also has a prophecy associated with it. In Isaiah chapter 9, verses 1 and 2, the prophet spoke of a time when the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali would no longer be in darkness, promising that a great light would shine on Galilee. We'll save the interpretation of that prophecy for your own study, and we'll address it when we get to Isaiah. However, we can say this. In the New Testament, the Gospel of Matthew explicitly cites this prophecy when Jesus leaves Nazareth to make his home in Capernaum, a city located right in the ancient territory of Naphtali. Matthew chapter 4, verses 13 to 16. Much of Jesus' public ministry, teaching, and selection of his disciples took place within these traditional lands of this tribe. I find it fascinating how God used the people stemming from the various tribes to proceed with his plan for Israel, and through them, his plan for the entire world. I hope you do as well. Join us next time as we continue looking into more genealogy of our faith's historical characters. In the meantime, if you like what you're hearing or seeing, please indicate so on the video you're watching. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com, type in "digging for scriptural gems," and subscribe. But most importantly, keep on studying the Word of God.